Welcome to Sappers Unscripted. Yes, this is only the two of us. We haven't decided to take a holiday. Welcome to episode whatever. Doesn't even matter at the end of the day because we have to stay. With me, I have Casual Bias Rugby, and I'm Brett Burns. And we are going to talk about should refs be held accountable? And I'm going to kick it off right away with what we spoke about off air. Casual Bias, what's your opinion on should the refs be held accountable when they make mistakes?
Well, Brett, this is dangerous territory. You know why? Because we are Safas speaking about the ref. I promise you, if this was anyone else speaking about the ref, people would say, listen, this is a valid conversation. But we're not speaking about this ref situation as Safas. I believe that if players get held accountable for mistakes that they make, refs should be held accountable still. Now, we spoke about this game being one of the most difficult games to ref because there's so many things happening at a breakdown. But that's why you have so many refs on the field. You have touchline refs, you have the ref on the field, and it's his job to see stuff. Now, I don't care about you missing a forward pass or a knock-on, but there is blatant decisions being missed, and we need to hold refs accountable because these people that try and hide everything with refs and try and act like they're a protected species, it is so annoying, and it's starting to really piss me off, to say it nicely.
Yeah, I agree. What Brevin said the other day, while he's not here, I'm actually gonna take something that he said the other day. That don't you think that at halftime or at the end of the game, while they're interviewing players, somebody else can interview a ref and say, listen, so according to some people that you guys missed this and that and this, can you talk us through that? I think that's a brilliant idea because if the players are held accountable, because if I slander a player, I slander a player and then that player knows and then he'll fix it. But a ref never fixes it. What the heck?
Yeah, I mean, so as you said, we slander players, right? So why is it wrong to slander a ref when you can slander players? We spoke about the Owen Farrell situation where Owen Farrell got death threats and everything, right? And that's wrong. Now, I'm not saying slander a ref and act like he's like the devil, but I'm just saying hold them accountable. And that is the perfect thing to do. Give them interviews because they interview managers or coaches. They interview players every time. They ask them what went wrong in this game, what happened with your playing game. They have no issues slandering those guys. But then the ref has to always be in the right. So, yeah, we talk about there's not enough refs in the game. Well, there's not enough good refs in the game. And that's the issue. Because you don't see the likes of a Wayne Barnes getting slandered every game. Yeah, he got some heat in the World Cup, right? And we'll speak about that in a second. But overall, he gets a lot of credit for good work that he did. If you were Nick Berry after that Lions series, you deserve to be slandered. After that first test, it was absolutely shocking. The fact that we had to make a video and that video could have been over an hour of your mistakes, you should be held accountable. So you can say, listen, the video was right or wrong, but you have to be held accountable if your video can be over an hour long.
What do you think is the reason that we aren't holding the refs accountable? Why are they so protected? What do you think could the reason possibly be behind that?
So firstly, I believe it will be the type of backlash that people get. So if refs were just held accountable as normal, as human beings, then I think there would be a lot more accountability when it comes to it. I think the fact that there's death threats being sent after games like that and stuff, I think that is the reason why they're trying to protect refs. Look at the World Cup.
But on that topic, don't you think then it would be perfect for people to just like get a better understanding? Say, if a commentator or an interviewer asks the guy, listen, you missed this call, talk us through that. Then instead of fans from the outside saying, oh yeah, he's a shit ref said, he could literally just say, I must not have seen it. I think there must have been a play in front of me. I'd only have two eyes. And he must try and justify it. And I think that will make supporters take it a little bit easier because they can't wait for the ref. What's he going to say now?
Yeah, to be fair, that is a very valid point, because they can defend themselves, because everyone knows you make mistakes, right? It is normal nature. So now that you mention it, maybe it is because they can't defend themselves, that the people get so mad, because they have no explanation of why that decision was being made. But then also, we're not even talking about just the refs on the field. We have to speak about the TMOs as well, the touch judges. This is actually a question for you. What is your opinion when it comes to the TMO in rugby? Do you think you should get more involved? You should stay out of it a bit more, because let's say for instance, the ref gets interviewed. The TMO should be interviewed as well, because they make a bunch of mistakes, and they need to be held accountable as well. But let's skip that. What do you think about the TMO?
I've been saying this for a while now, especially in the World Cup, that a TMO should come in for two reasons. When a ref says TMO, when he literally does that like he used to do in the old days, can we check if that was a try or not? Even if he has to take it back 10 phases, that I don't care about, because if it's not a try, it shouldn't be awarded. Whether it's 3 phases or 10 phases, he could say no. So many phases had taken place. There was a knock back there. Sorry, no try. Or his foot was in touch, no try. Or when there was deliberate foul play, like you could see the refs facing that way, and behind him there was a late tackle or a head high hit, something like that. That's the only thing I think the ref should be involved in. Not a player 3 offside.
Yeah,
Hands in ruck from 7 blue. That nonsense must stop.
that has to be one of the most annoying things when it comes to watching rugby these days. Like, you don't see it too much in the URC. Like, I don't know if they broadcast it, but certain competitions, you can literally hear the TMO talking about, like, the ref. Then he talks about 11 being offside when it's on the other side of the field, him being just quick out of the line or whatever. Now, I know he should be onside, but it's such a small detail. It doesn't matter in that phase of play. Like, if the ref doesn't see it, move on. That's actually what makes a game, a sport so special, is when there is mistakes made. Like, it's part of the game. You don't want the perfect game. You want a scruffy game where there's some action, missed calls, whatever, that gets emotion out of you. But I'm talking about like the big calls, and I totally agree with you. So let's go back to, for instance, the whole thing that started this debate was the game of the Stormers versus La Rochelle. Okay. And me and you spoke over the phone while we were watching that game. And that was one of the worst reffing performances that I've seen. And we are saying this after the Stormers won the game. Okay. Because there was shocking calls. And the perfect example is the foul play one. Now, the ref missed it, which is an honest mistake because he wasn't looking at the play.
Yeah.
But when he goes on to say, to ask the TMO, was there any foul play? The TMO first said, no, there was no foul play. Super Sport decided to broadcast it on the big screen, what actually happened, with a guy flying in, no hands. Literally, people decide, listen, we'll throw in a late arm to make it look like a tackle. There was nothing. It was just like a shoulder, a headbutt straight to the dome. And then the ref on the field had to see it, and then they had to re-rule that. That is ridiculous. That is one of the worst decisions that I've ever seen on a rugby field. Not even one of the worst, the worst.
The worst. I agree. I remember when we were talking about it, and I said to you, I try to calm you down by telling you, listen, just remember, this is what I do to everyone, not just to you, but I pointed it out to you that when a bad call is made, look at the ref immediately. Just look where he's looking. Because lots of times when a ref would say to a backline, stay on side, then on this side, something's happening. And then the whole world complains because we can see it, but they don't look where the ref is looking. But in that game specifically, we saw that the stuff happened right in front of the ref, because that's
exactly.
When you slapped back at me and said, hello, I can literally see the ref looking there.
Yeah, so, I mean, there was 2 examples of that. Literally, there was a ball that I think it was Kortnal Skusan took out of the air. He's not held at all. He literally has the ball, just throws it back up. Not a hand on his body. The ref is looking at it. He says, no, play the ball on the ground. While Dylan Lates assisted a try right before that they scored, where there was a knock on, and it was a blatant forward pass right in front of the ref. And the TMO looked at it, and they together decided, let's be idiots and award this shit. So that is why we talk about accountability. Now, I know obviously he made mistakes when the Stormers had the ball as well. He made faulty calls there, but we watch it from a Stormers perspective, so you don't see it as much. Now, we're not saying this as Safas, but we have to go back even into the Rugby World Cup, because Wayne Barnes, who we just spoke about, got immense slander after his quarterfinal performance and the final performance. The people that loved him after the quarterfinal hated him after the final. What was your thoughts about the reaction from Ireland and New Zealand after those two games? Sorry, we had some technical difficulties out here. Brett, we were speaking about the backlash that Wayne Barnes got in the quarterfinal from the Irish fans and in the final from the New Zealand fans. Now, of course, we gave Ben O'Keefe, we gave Ben O'Keefe some grief after the game against Ireland, but then we won every game, so it didn't matter. What is your thoughts on the backlash that refs got in the World Cup, especially focusing on Wayne Barnes?
So I personally thought that it was pretty unfair towards Wayne Barnes, because if you look at every rugby content creator that you and I personally follow on all the platforms, they couldn't speak highly enough about Wayne Barnes. Like, you couldn't ask for a better ref to ref the final. And the second the final whistle blew, every single comment section of every single social media platform said, robbed. And then all of a sudden you get Wayne Barnes coming out telling the world that he got death threats, which I think is absolutely disgusting, because South Africa will blame a ref. If something goes wrong, we'll blame a ref. Yeah, the ref missed this and this and this and this. Not once will we climb into a ref's character. Not once will we threaten the person's family or his life, for that matter. And yet the world thinks that South Africa are the biggest crybabies when it comes to blaming the refs. When after Ireland's game, where the Irish completely lost their minds at a ref and also sent him nasty messages, and then New Zealand, who I think were the biggest crybabies in the last 20 years when it comes to refereeing. They're still complaining about it, and it's in December already.
Yeah, I mean, there is this massive narrative that it's just the box that complain, and we have to agree, like, we do complain about the ref, but after every single loss of a big team, especially, they blame the ref. If the box beat a strong team, they blame the ref. Lose to a strong team, they blame the ref. If New Zealand, Australia, France, Ireland, England, if they lose against a strong team, they blame the ref. It is almost natural for us to do things like that. So yes, there is merit in blaming the ref, but me personally, I thought Wayne Barnes had a very good game. I'm not even going to speak about the final. I thought he had a brilliant game in that match against between Ireland and New Zealand. I didn't see anything wrong, and that was watching as a neutral. We didn't care who won between Ireland and New Zealand. So I thought he had a very good game. But then moving on to the second thing is why we think refs should be held accountable is just look at the World Cup, right? When a big team gets an injury from a smaller nation, look at the sanctions put on those players, how long they are banned. Look at the example of the Namibian player smashing into Dupont's face, getting banned for about 12 weeks. And then the Tonga player going against Mapimpi, where we know Mapimpi is not one of our crucial players at the moment. Nothing there. It's so inconsistent. Or one of the big players does a horrible tackle, Owen Farrell, before the World Cup. No ban. Then they had to review that afterwards. And then only he got a ban because the world rugby was in uproar of it. I mean, what do you think about the inconsistencies when it comes to this?
There has to be a standard. We all can agree on there has to be a standard, and stick with that standard, regardless of the country. Don't even look at who the player was committing said mistake. Just be a neutral and say, okay, so player A banned for 12 weeks, and the next game, player B also banned for 12 weeks because it was the exact same incident as last year. Don't because a tier one nation and a superstar of the game is now out of the game, now we have to change the rules. And I think that's exactly what they're doing it. Oh no, we can't have Owen Farrell out the game. He brings too much viewers to the TV. Nobody's going to remember a Daisel from Namibia, so let's give him a 12-week ban, regardless of whether they only play 3 games a year or not. Blows my mind.
That is absolutely ridiculous. So just going back to the Mapimpi thing, like Dupont comes back within 3 weeks, plays a game again. Mapimpi out for how long? He only came back just now for the Sharks, out for the rest of the World Cup. Guess which tackle got the guy suspended? Guess
Yes,
which tackle
exactly.
got the guy a card? Not even a yellow card, a red card. Not our guy.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous when it comes to the inconsistencies. And we can speak about the tackles all day. It's just purely on the refs. Because those decisions weren't made by the ref on field. Those decisions were made by the TMO that should have said, listen, that is a yellow or that is a red and whatever. And then should have been taken afterwards, and then the sanctions should have come in. The sanctions after some of these games should have been way worse or way less. It is just ridiculous how World Rugby is almost reffing rugby at the moment. It almost feels like some corruption is just going on over here.
I do, however, think that World Rugby has proven now that they do have their favorites. There are the level of favoritism towards certain refs and the level of favoritism towards certain teams that get refed by said refs. It's the inconsistency is just, it's blowing my mind. But I just want to have a little quick dig at France for lying to the whole world by saying Dupont's face was fractured. I call bullshit. Anyway, moving on.
I mean, it's factual because we saw an actual facial fracture, and that was Mapimps.
Yes,
So-
and in that same game, Jesse Creel handed off Dupont in the face with a solid, stiff arm, and he didn't even flinch.
Exactly. So thank you for watching, people. Just to round it off, we're just going to have a quick wrap up. So, Brett, we agree ref should be held accountable. Now, we're not speaking about slander online and threats and stuff, but they should have an interview after the game, correct?
Agree. Even at halftime.
Yeah.
Just a quick one. How do you see that going? No, it was quite tough out there. I think I missed a few things there. Oh, cool. A ref's actually admitting a mistake. I like this ref now. Boom.
Exactly. And then the same with refs should be praised as well for a very good performance, because we know it's one of the toughest sports. And as we said with the Owen Farrell thing, this is the thing you sign up for. You sign up for being or getting backlash. Now, backlash doesn't mean being personal and stuff, but you have to be criticized for your job. It's the same in any type of job. That's why you have performance reviews. Later or easy. Thank you, people, for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I know it's a bit of a touchy subject speaking about especially when you're Saffas, but hopefully this just opened your eyes a bit. Maybe some of you would agree or disagree. I've just had enough of the people saying you can't blame a ref, because you can blame a ref. You can hold him accountable because refs make mistakes.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next time.
Okay, bye.